Today we are starting statistics. Statistics is collecting, analyzing, interpreting, organizing, and presenting data. Statistics is usually referred to by the shortened word stats. Stats are often kept on sports teams. Stats are also kept in video games. Stats are kept on a lot of things in your life that you may or may not realize. As we work with our statistics, a lot of new vocabulary words will pop up. For example, this is a dot plot. You may have seen a dot plot before, and you might have known that this was called a dot plot, but this might be a new term for you. A dot plot is a collection of dots placed above a number line to represent your data. Each dot represents one value. So if I were to ask a question, the number of responses for 5 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I were to write this data out, it would look like this. So I have 6 5s. Then I can look at the next value. The number 10 was a response 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So I could add that to my data list. The 10 would show up 5 times. And I could continue going throughout the data. Now, usually making a list of your data is not the most effective thing. Instead, we could look at our data and ask and answer questions about it. For example, which number had the most responses? And we could say that 25 and 40 had the most responses because each one had the same amount. In this case, each one had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 responses, which is more than any other response. Another new vocabulary word is the lower extreme. The lower extreme is the lowest data value in a set of data. So if we think about all of the data on this dot plot, again, realizing that each one of these dots represents a number, if I were to write out all the 5s, it would look like that, right? These are 10s. These are 15s, and so on and so forth. We could look at it and ask ourselves, what is the lowest data value? What is the smallest number that is our data? And the answer for the lower extreme would be 5, because that is the smallest number that was a response. We could also just look at our number line. The smallest number that had data up was a 5. Okay. Another word, oops, sorry about that. Another word for lower extreme is the minimum value. These are synonyms, so we could use the same answer of 5 with different words for it. The lower extreme is 5, or the minimum value is 5. The upper extreme is then the highest data value in a set of data. This also has a synonym, which is the maximum value. In the dot plot that we've been looking at, our upper extreme is 50. It is the biggest or highest data value in our set. So our maximum value would be 50. Our next vocabulary word is peak. Peak is the number that most frequently occurs, or the most frequently occurring value. Sometimes there's only one. Sometimes there's more than one. In our set of data, the most frequently occurring value is a tie between 25 and 40, because both of those have more values than anything else. So they would become our peak. The peak is also called the mode. So our mode, or our peak in this case, we could write that our mode equals 25 and 40 because it occurs more than any other value. Let's practice. In this line plot, where would the lower extreme be? If you answered 2/8, you are right. In class, we discussed why the answer is not 0. And the lower extreme is not 0 because there is no data above the 0. There's not an X in this case. What's the upper extreme? That would be 1. Here's our Where would the peak or the mode be in this data? In this one, the mode or the peak would be 3/8 because 3/8 has more X's above it than any other value. Let's try again. This dot plot shows us the number of books that were read last summer. Can you tell me what the lower extreme is? If you answered 0, you are correct. I'm going to use an LE for lower extreme. Where's the upper extreme? Are you thinking 9? If you are, then you are correct. And finally, where is the peak or mode? The peak or mode is at 1 because 1 has more dots than any other value. How about this one? Where is the minimum value or our lower extreme? Here it is. It's at 18. How about the upper extreme or the maximum value? Here at 28. That is our highest number with data. And lastly, where is the mode? In this set of data, the mode is 24. Which we could also say is our peak. What if I just give you numbers? Can you do the same thing? Where would our lower extreme be? Now it often helps if the numbers are in order from least to greatest. I gave them to you in order on this one. Our lower extreme would be 2. How about the upper extreme? The answer would be 10. And where is the mode? In this problem, the number 4 occurs twice, but so does the number 8. So our mode would be both 4 and 8. This one has 2 modes. How about this data? Where would our lower be? Again, it's in order, so it's easy to see the lower extreme is 17. How about the upper extreme? If you are thinking 40, great job. And lastly, where would the mode be? That's a trick question, because in this problem, no number occurs more than one time. And when they all occur the same amount of time, we can't say that there is a mode, because nothing occurs most often. So our mode would be none. There's not one. How about if I give you this set of data? Can you find our 3 values? So I'm looking for our lower extreme, our upper extreme, and our mode. Hey, the lower extreme is 1, the upper extreme is 5, and in this problem there are 2 modes, 1 and 3, because both of them occur 4 times, which is more than any other number. How about this example? Do you have an idea? What is our lower extreme? The lower extreme is 1. The upper extreme is 600. And what would the mode be? The mode would be none, because each number occurs the same amount of times. This is our final example. You'll notice in this one that in order to answer the questions, we have to think a little bit harder. Why am I saying that? Because the data is not in order. A good strategy, if it helps you, is to always organize your data. All the numbers I've given you so far have been in order from least to greatest. So could we make this list least to greatest? Let's see, 3 is our smallest number, and then we have 2 4s. The next smallest number is 5, and then we have this. Looks like we have 2 7s, and lastly, we have an 8. Once we do that, now we can look at our organized data, which is here, to identify the values we're looking for. The lower extreme is 3, the upper extreme is 8, and the mode, well, now I can clearly see the mode would be both 4 and 7. For additional practice with these concepts, try the quizzes that I attached to Google Classroom. If you have questions, email me.